Hey guys, good morning. Sorry for the little delay. So we're just changing up the format a slight bit. This is Google Hangouts on. So we're just changing up the format a slight bit. This is Google Hangouts on. So we're just changing up the format a slight bit. This is Google Hangouts on. So we're just changing up the format a slight bit. This is Google Hangouts. Okay, so let me just go ahead and start with our awesome agenda today. So it's April 24th, and these are the Maker community updates. In terms of design, we have an update from Henry as to hiring. He is hiring over 100 applicants that have applied for the product design role so far. In terms of governance, the initial user research is complete, and we're working on wireframes. The new die dashboard and designs are done and has started coding, and the redeemed die and MKR wireframes are now finished. In terms of an update from the head of product, Soren, on the product side, we now have the design deliverables for the new die dashboard, the CDP portal. The die dashboard will use a proxy contract that can turn several transactions into one user action, and work is going on to implement that by Gonzalo. Ethan will soon join and work on the front end. There are, to a smaller degree, things that still need design. And here the Maker product design team will close those gaps. On the governance voting, we still can continue to do user interviews to work on wireframes while waiting for documentation of the execution flow between a secure voting contracts and the DS chief contract. In terms of documentation from Rich, there's a major sections to wrap up this week are what are the risk parameters? How does global settlement work? What is the MKR token for? And who are the oracles? In terms of other announcements, Maker will be at EdCon, which is in Toronto next week from May 3rd to 5th. We have the Maker and Dieter announcement, which we are very excited about, and I've linked to that, and as well as the Maker and Kyber announcement. Also, I'd love to hear any questions or feedback from you guys as to getting the announcements out there and sort of this call in general. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay in terms of this service, so your questions will flood in a little bit later for me. So just give me a second. Okay, awesome. Hey, Kari. So your question is any schedule for when the framework on how the collateral is selected and published? And David Utro has given a couple little pointy arrows to that. Kari then asked, or on what basis to set the risk parameters? So that's a great question as to when a schedule will come out, as to when the collateral is selected and then published. Unfortunately, I'm not exactly sure when we will be releasing that schedule, but I know that will be released very much quite soon. I apologize, but I'll definitely make sure to reach out to you specifically when that does happen. And Nick, one of our favorite developers, has also answered that it will definitely occur before multi-collateral die, but that no, we don't yet have the timetable. Michael Dunworth asks a super valid question. Will different forms of collateral have different ceilings? That's absolutely true. They'll definitely have different ceilings, which is cool because it really expands the range of collateral types that we offer by having that sort of flexibility and changing the debt ceiling. Michael Elliott asks, are there plans to add ERC 223 support to the next version of the DAI token, allowing receiving contracts to be notified of an incoming transaction? Actually, Nick, would you happen to have a response to that? Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, not at the moment. And Michael Dunworth, you asked how those ceilings will be constructed. That's a fantastic question, actually, for our head of risk, Stephen, who I'm not sure is on the call right now. However, he's developing a sort of framework for each token type or each collateral type. And as he continues to go through that framework, we'll publish updates and be quite exposing as to what the risk is. Nick also goes ahead and offers the response that the ceilings will be, in fact, constructed using the results from the quantitative risk model that we're developing, though it would be up to MKR token holders to validate those debt ceilings. That's a good question. There's our head of risk, whose name is Stephen Becker, who I encourage you actually to reach out to on the Maker Chat or Reddit. He's really interested in hearing feedback from the smart community members like yourself. And then we've got a couple more people working under Stephen, but as of now, I would definitely go ahead and send him a note. James Siebel asks, will all DAI be 100% fungible regardless of what the type of collateral backs it? Or can I detect and not use DAI that was generated from certain CDPs? Yes, so Nick answers that DAI is in fact 100% fungible. So yeah, it won't matter the type of collateral that does in fact back it. So Michael Dunworth, you asked if there's any upcoming tools surrounding voting. There is upcoming tools surrounding voting. I believe next week we'll have more information regarding that. Right. Yeah, you follow up with like a UI for voters. Yeah, so next week, I think you should be able to expect some sort of release for us in which we give more of explainer as to updates and voting. Michael Elliott, you had asked regarding the MKR token voting implementation that is being developed. Is it based on any existing ERC/EIPs? So yeah, we'll let you know more about that later. And James, I think someone already answered your question, but any hardware wallet support, Ledger on the roadmap? And yeah, it is on people's plates, and there's progress being made towards various hardware wallet supports. No, Nick, you're not a loop. Just how big is the maker team now? It definitely Nick's correct about that. We're less than 50, but around 40 to 50. Michael Dunworth, I see you ask, are there any candidates for MakerDAO? Digix is the first one. So MakerDAO like McDonald's, but meaning multi-collateral. That's super funny. That's good. Yeah, there are candidates for multiple collateral DAI for sure. Michael Elliott, sounds like the Maker team is quite busy at the moment for upcoming multi-collateral DAI release and continue team expansion. Exciting stuff. Thank you so much. Very true. James Siebel, why was OMG selected as first ERC20 for collateral? What are they, or is that to be determined for public info? So yeah, that's going to be more so to be determined in terms of public information. Yeah, and everything that David Dutro is pointing out is an excellent point. We can really make a collateral type out of the majority of ERC20 tokens. But yeah, the sort of main deal with determining different collateral types is going to be those risk parameters that we're talking about. And as Nick aptly points out, it was actually DGX was sort of the first collateral type we ever publicly announced. And Michael Dunworth, you ask, how is Oasis Direct doing in terms of transaction volume? Are you guys seeing any demand for other tokens on that? And David Dutro points out that we do have crappy altcoins with low debt ceilings and a high stability fee. Oh, and Stephen has chimed in that a brief on the risk framework should be out near the end of May, which is incredible. So I believe Oasis Direct has been doing phenomenally well, even with in terms of the increases in transaction volume. I could ping some of the team from Oasis to sort of gain further clarity around that. So Michael, you ask which Maker team members are going to be at EdCon. So Andy will in fact be giving a talk. I'll likely be there, and we're still sort of determining some of the other members that we want to be there, or who want to be there. But we'll let you know, or you can go ahead and ping us. And Jonathan, it looks like you got your question answered about how much Andreessen Horowitz invested in MKR, and David Utro answered 12 million. Yeah, of course, we could do further research into that later. Oh, actually, I have an Actually, I'm not sure that the number was 12 million. But we can go ahead and talk about that another time. And I have a question from Alan J. Cooper. Michael, to follow up on your question, this is a key issues now. The team had done a great job setting up DAI. Going forward, the issue is going to be economic models. In order for MKR holders to be involved, we need to get in-depth information about the models and data driving the models. Thank you so much, Alan J. Cooper. That's an awesome response. And yes, Jonathan, I would definitely think about that sum of money as, in many ways, being the formation of a relationship building investment. And yeah, as Nick pointed out, we have enough money, so it's definitely more about the network than getting access to money. And the DAI supply is, in fact, steadily increasing. That's something that we're super excited about. As our developer Nick's emoji volcano conveys. David asked, you guys foresee larger institutional players opening larger CDPs to create DAI? Or do you know of any that are thinking about it? That's a good question. I think we do, in fact, foresee a number of larger institutional players opening larger CDPs to create DAI. And as we sort of form maybe more formal relationships with those sorts of players, we'll release more info. Michael asked, the DAI trade volume was around 30 million, but now down to around 2 million. It looks that BetaBox has dropped that, or their trade volume has been wiped. Did you guys see this also on your end? That's an awesome question. Let me ping some people to get the more specific, accurate answer. Um, Yeah, so as Nick rightfully pointed out, Bbox was doing a bit of wash trading. We've reprimanded them for that, asked them to get their shit together, and now they're clean, as you pointed out. That's an insightful question from David Utro, who asked, what is the difference between wash trading and market making? Is it not just like market making, but accelerated? So I suppose that is a difficult distinction to draw, but yeah, as our head of risk Stephen points out, figuring out what those differences between wash trading as opposed to market making would be an important aspect in terms of our risk thinking. Stephen articulates that market making would take both sides of the trade, whereas wash trading would trade just with themselves. Yes. So Michael Dunworth asks, is there any consideration to updating or altering the endpoints on the API to make it more friendly language? So wipe, cut, free, shut, etc. So as Nick points out, we'll have a new API out soon. It's still in progress. And in terms of the question as to market making and wash trading and that distinction, Greg D has given us a response that market making is providing bids and offers for others to trade with. Wash trading is trading with yourself to provide the illusion of higher volumes. Those are your own orders as opposed to creating limit orders. So Alan asked the question, Jessica, can you speak to the question of when we'll be able to interact with the economics team? Will it be in the form of a website, online tools? So that's actually, I'm very happy that you asked that, Alan, because I'd love to bring some of the economics team actually onto this call to speak to you. They're a very articulate group that would very much, I'm sure, love to engage with all of you. But in terms of how that interaction will proceed in the future, I think we're still doing a bit of experimentation and testing. So I can't give you a definite answer at the moment. But also, if Alan, you'd like to specifically reach out to someone within the sort of economic side of things right now, I'd recommend going on and pinging someone within MakerChat, uh, potentially Equivalent. So if you need help figuring out who he is, you can always just send me a ping and I can give you some information. Yeah, no worries. Is there more we can go ahead and answer at this point? I very much apologize for some of the little errors towards the beginning there, or any continuous errors. Feel free to tell me how you think that could be improved. But additionally, I'd love to ask you all if there's a specific format that you'd also like to see me try, something other than this YouTube, or if you'd like to just switch back to TeamSpeak. Any impassioned or informed opinions on which platform works best for y'all would be very much appreciated. And thank you guys for being incredible. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, David and Michael and Mike and Jonathan and Alan. Okay. Cool. So I think we can wrap it up. Go ahead and just send me a message if there's something different that you'd like to see soon. All right. Awesome. Bye.